Hello and welcome to our webinar on Snowflake to Avalanche migration best practices. My name is Pradeep Banot. I'll be joined today by a special guest, Paul Wolmering, who's the VP of Systems Engineering here at Actian. Paul's presentation will be followed by a best practices presentation and demo by Eli Wayne, who's a technical account manager in our systems engineering organization. With that, I'll hand over to Paul.
Hello, this is Paul Woomering. I'll walk through a little bit of what Actian is and what is behind the scenes of the product, and then hand it over to my colleague to talk about how we can do migrations as well. My background has been 3 decades in the database industry at a variety of companies, and I'm happy to be at Actian right now to talk about Avalanche. So Actian overall is a company that's been around for quite a while. We have well over 3,000 customers and several hundred employees. We're a global company with offices in both North America, Europe, India, and then the Asia theater. The support organization is delivering well above 95% customer satisfaction. We spent many years building patents in our product suites to deliver unbelievable performance in our Avalanche offering. And 24 of the Fortune 100 use our products in a variety of ways. There's a sample of logos below, everything from Refinitiv, which is requiring us to have 20 millisecond response time, to companies like Lufthansa that has operational data flowing into Actian to make sure that all the components of the flight are in place so the plane can take off without issue. And Actian plays in a variety of verticals from finance, transportation, retail, hospitality, government. It's pretty much across the board. So why Actian? Actian is a performance leader with great enterprise scalability. We deliver great performance on a variety of fronts, whether you're working in the cloud or on-prem or have a hybrid solution. Because of the architecture of the product, we offer lower total cost of ownership. A lot of that is done by the phrase I always use: we do more with less. We totally optimize and take advantage of what you've invested in to run our products on. It's also very automated in terms of management and monitoring and security, meaning Actian will be doing all the heavy lifting behind the scenes. And with that, we don't force you to go to the cloud as the only option available. You have the flexibility of dipping your toe into the cloud or moving pieces of your enterprise architecture into the cloud as you see fit. So you're not locked into going into one particular cloud vendor or stuck on an on-prem system. You have a hybrid approach. And it's lower risk because we remove a lot of the risk of jumping into the cloud in one big splash. We look at a variety of ways to help you deploy. We have a very flexible architecture to meet your requirements. And we also offer a free data migration assessment. So you get an idea of, before you even invest anything, what is it going to take to go from point A to point B, from on-prem to cloud, or from one cloud vendor to another cloud vendor? And that's what my colleague will talk about shortly. So if you look at the early generations of cloud data warehouses that came out in the beginning of the 2010s, very quick to deploy and manage. You click the button and boom, you've got a cluster running in AWS. And offered great scalability with performance to meet your increasing data volumes, because you can add more hardware as you need it, or instances or VMs, and you paid for what you use. When cloud came out, there was all these great stories about we did something with pennies that used to cost dollars to do, and the cloud brings tons of data integration together from a variety of sources, and that's what the cloud brought, and everybody loved that story. But then reality sets in. And if you look at how easy it is to deploy, it does require a lot of work in terms of design, security, networking, data movement, analytics, where do I do my data science and BI and such, and a lot to manage the entire environment as well. And then you hit a performance wall, or you flatline. The concurrency and the query complexities going in to your environment just basically flatline or cannot produce any more throughput. And other technologies stepped around that by, well, we'll just auto scale you, or we will spin up another cluster. While that is good on PowerPoint, it's really bad for your budget. All of a sudden, your budget that you've allocated for 12 months is consumed within 3 months. And you have to go back to the CFO and ask for more money, which is never a popular thing to do. And last is data integration. While it's great to have an easy to deploy and a scalable environment, how do you get those data elements from the hundreds of sources that are out there into your environment very easily, so you can work on the data, let your data scientists and analytics and data engineers get value out of the data. That also was limited in terms of all these instances in the cloud. So what Avalanche is, it's a hybrid data cloud data warehouse, which it's fully ACID compliant. It's a SQL database, ANSI, standard SQL that a lot of tools like a Tableau or a Power BI can use, but it offers high performance at scale, meaning you can put more and more workloads on the Avalanche system, and our architecture allows us to scale extremely fast because we are processing multiple times faster, hundreds of times faster than other systems to get the answers back to your queries. Avalanche runs on-premise, meaning it can run in your data center. It can run in the cloud like Amazon and Azure, or in a VPC, your own private cloud. It also offers great TCO because you pay for what you use. It's elastically scalable up and down, so you can start out say with an 8 node cluster to keep it simple, and scale up to 16 and scale back to 8 if you want. And then there's separation of storage and compute. So you can take advantage of cheap cloud storage and reduce your costs. And then there's comprehensive integration, meaning that built into Avalanche, you have the ability to reach out to hundreds of data sources and pull data into Avalanche, and do it with simply filling in a couple forms and clicking execute or run. There's no need for complex teams to build complex ETL or ELT jobs. It's more about giving the end user the power to pull in the data they wish when they wish. So what's under the hood that makes this database so fast? The first bullet point on the left is vectorized processing. Not that many people understand what that is, but it's built into every chip that everybody uses. The problem is a lot of people, a lot of databases don't take advantage of that. And let me give you an example. So in traditional scalar processing, a traditional database, if you had 10,000 mathematical operations to do, it would be 1 plus 10 equals 11, 2 plus 20 equals 22, so on and so on and so on, until you've done the 10,000th calculation. That would require 10,000 CPU cycles to figure this calculation out. But with Avalanche's vectorized processing, we can process all of those in one machine cycle. Basically, we are doing vector algebra. And in this example, 1 plus 10, 2 plus 20, all the answers come up in one machine cycle. And that gives you a great performance boost. In addition to vectorized processing, we take advantage of CPU cache and memory optimization. We're playing with the L2, L3 caches in the cores and in the CPUs. We've written a lot of patented algorithms to fully take advantage of that, because CPU L2 and L3 cache is extremely fast compared to traditional memory performance. Next is second-gen column or database. This allows you to do updates in Avalanche without affecting reports that are running or other people using the system. We have a patented technology that allows us to take micro, mini, real-time feeds and updates into the system, and it doesn't affect the user community. Next is smart compression, where we figure out what is the best compression to use for your data and data types, so you don't have to worry about that, which gives you a great disk savings and disk throughput savings. We also have auto storage, and some people refer to those as zone maps, where we know exactly where the data resides on disk, and we can skip over parts of the disk that we know does not contain data for your query. And last but not least is multi-core parallelism, where in the cluster with all the nodes and the cores and the CPUs, we'll take advantage of everything to process the data quickly and efficiently to get the results back as fast as possible. So what is the Actian Real-Time Connected Data Warehouse? Avalanche, the platform represented in sort of the bluish gray oval, is made up of Avalanche, the cloud data warehouse, the big circle, and next to that is Avalanche Connect. Avalanche Hybrid Cloud Data Warehouse is where tools like the business analysts, data scientists, or data engineers would attach to, doing work inside tools like Tableau or Looker or MicroStrategy. Data scientists can use Jupyter Notebooks, TensorFlow, Data Robot. Data engineers are more at a low-level Python, Scala level. And they're communicating through a variety of protocols, whether it's ODBC or JDBC, REST API, to get the data out of Avalanche and to get value out of it. But the Avalanche Connect component is more about a built-in connector technology where we have over 300 connectors into a variety of sources. Whether you want to talk to cloud object store like Amazon S3, or talk to SaaS applications like Salesforce or Marketo. It also has IoT streaming. In addition, there's an API to talk to virtually anything. In addition to, we talk to all the relational databases like, DB2 and Oracle and so on. And then the Avalanche platform itself can take ETL or ELT streams from the ETL vendors like Informatica or Talent. This gives you, this whole platform gives you so many benefits, from deploying anywhere to play a hybrid model, direct connect to all these source systems. The nice thing about it, which I said on the prior slide, is that these users like business analysts and data scientists and data engineers don't have to write code, don't have to get a project spun up to build a complex ETL job. They can just go into a very simple form or template, fill in their credentials and fill in what they want, and Avalanche Connect will go out and get it for them and land it inside Avalanche. Also built into Avalanche Connect is a sort of a manager to make sure all of these jobs are managed and monitored, and if there's a failure and dependencies, all of that is tracked. And you could see that in a demo of Avalanche if you wish. Another interesting thing about Avalanche is it allows you to migrate your legacy into the cloud as you wish. You may have a legacy data warehouse that's running either on-prem or in the cloud, and you can take Avalanche to migrate your data in a way that is meets your business requirements and your budget. Like I said earlier, with Avalanche, you're not forced to go 100% into the cloud. You can leave parts of your data warehouse, legacy data warehouse in your data center. You can move it into Avalanche as you wish. Maybe there's a certain business applications, 2 or 3, that you need to move into the cloud for various reasons. And also you can run Avalanche on-prem as well. So you have that opportunity to have a hybrid approach, which means it's the same code base. Your applications don't have to be rewritten. It's the same knowledge base for your people. They're not learning 2 different databases, an on-prem and a cloud version. And plus, we also have a federation capability, so you can query data in between these 2 systems, regardless if they reside in multiple clouds or on-prem, which gives you a flexibility that the business requires, so they can see a global view of the customer base or the products and such. So we've migrated a lot of different applications to Actian over the years, and this is just a financial services example where, over the course of proving this out, we've moved this legacy system from an on-prem system into Actian, and you can see the goals and what the actual was. We increased data the analyzed by 100x. Reports used to take hours, 3+ hours, and we ran them in 28 seconds, which allowed them to look at their data more granularly and get a better insight into the data, the customer, and the business. And this is the sort of the same kind of story that we get as we move customers from either cloud systems or legacy on-prem systems into Avalanche. It's the same sort of experience in terms of I can do more business in one day that I used to take me like a week to do. So what I'm going to do now is handed over to Eli, who is a technical account manager, professional services group, which will talk about how this is done. I gave you the overview of the platform. I gave you an overview of what's sort of underneath the platform. And I'll let Eli talk about how this is done and what makes it work.
My name is Eli Ween. I'm a technical account manager in the sales enablement team here at Actian. For this demonstration, we have a Snowflake instance in Azure with a set of industry standard decision support TPCH tables already populated with data. We also have an Avalanche instance in Azure without any TPCH tables defined. I'm going to show you just how easy it is to migrate from Snowflake to Avalanche so you can benefit from the superior price performance Avalanche provides. We will migrate automatically using the Actian Assist migration tool. First, the database objects are converted from Snowflake to Avalanche syntax. We connect and run a query against the Snowflake system tables, extract the database object metadata, convert the database objects to Avalanche syntax, and load the converted database objects into Avalanche. Second, the data is migrated from Snowflake to Avalanche. We run an extract query on the Snowflake tables from Actian Assist, compress and store the extracted data in Azure Blob Storage, and parallelly ingest the data into Avalanche from Azure Blob Storage. In the Actian Assist migration tool, we first need to define the source and target databases. We first select Snowflake from the available list of sources. We then select Avalanche as the target. You can connect to the source and target directly to extract DDL or work from files. This demo will use a live connection. Set the source connection details. These can either be the host name or data source name. Our documentation will tell you how to do this. Once the details are entered, you can submit and the live source is shown as active. Similarly, with the target connection, enter the connection details. You can test the connection via the Test Connection button if you wish. Clicking Apply stores the connection details. Now, let's look at the Snowflake instance running. You can see that we have a number of TPCH tables in our schema as well as a view we created. We've created a SQL query to detail some statistics on the TPCH tables. These show the row counts of each table, the min and max key values, and the sum of a numeric field if one exists. The largest table is line item with just over 600 million rows. If we move over to Avalanche, we can use the Avalanche query editor to write and execute the same query as we did in Snowflake. This returns no rows because nothing yet exists in the target DB user schema. Going back to the Actian Assist tool, to migrate the database objects, we simply click the Migrate DDL button and the database objects are extracted and migrated. We select Migrate Views to also migrate the view. You also have an option to migrate sample data here too. The DDL migration has been successful. Now let's check what's in Avalanche. You can see that the DB user schema now has the TPCH tables, and the view is also present on the left side of the screen. Let's run the validation query again to see what data is there. This time it returns 8 rows, and these are all empty as expected because we've only migrated the DDL and not the data. So let's return to Actian Assist to migrate the data. We simply need to click the Migrate Data button, and the tool extracts data from Snowflake and loads it into Avalanche. Actian Assist supports multi-threaded parallelism by utilizing available cores to process concurrently. For the purpose of this demo, we are fast-forwarded to the successful execution. The actual time it takes depends on a number of factors, including numbers of tables, data volumes, size of source and target instances, and bandwidth. For large databases, we would recommend using a physical device such as Azure DataBox or AWS Snowball. The data migration was successful. Now, let's look at Azure Blob Storage to see the extracted data files from Snowflake. These are zipped CSV files consisting of multiple files extracted per table. The size defaults to 15 megabytes. You can see the files for the customer table as well as some for the line item table in the list shown. If we go back to Avalanche, we'll be able to see the data in the TPCH tables and we can validate it. If we run the same query again as we ran last time, it will quickly return the statistics that show the data has been perfectly migrated from Snowflake to Avalanche. Now you can see how easy it is to migrate from Snowflake to Avalanche in just a few button clicks. Thank you for watching. I hope you find this demonstration of interest. We provide a free migration assessment to help you migrate from Snowflake to Avalanche. Contact us at asa@actian.com. Visit www.actian.com and check out our Cut Your Snowflake Bill in Half guaranteed offer.